today's discussion is learn how to claim and embrace ownership of you and your journey in 2023. So this is so great. I'm so thankful to be brought at the beginning of the year, and we can hopefully set the tone for great things to come. So if we can just go to my presentation. Learn how to claim and embrace ownership of you and your journey in 2023. This is what the discussion will be about. As you know, we climb through the hills and we deal with the valleys in life. So this is an interactive presentation, and it's all included in it with collaborative discussion. Also going to look at the strategic steps that we need to take to claim ownership and embrace ownership of you and your journey. We're going to chunk it out into small bits, so it's a little bit more manageable, more action oriented, and we're going to look at time, we're going to look at power, and we're going to look at well-being, because we need to be strong in order to be able to embrace all of the elements. So it's all about empowerment, which is the process of becoming stronger, becoming more confident, and becoming in control of your life and claiming one's rights that you have in this world. That says, okay, you can get up from where you are, or you can move forward into a different situation. Discussion, which is about claiming ownership of you and your journey. So as we look at 2023, we're going to chunk it out. It's about time. Are we using our time to the best of the abilities that we could do? Our power. Are we grasping a hold of our power, or are we just letting it just haphazardly just go by? And our well-being, we need to be strong. We need to be strong in our mental capacity so that we can take those steps, that those days where you just don't feel like it, you've got the discipline. You're already on that strength journey that, okay, it's going to carry me through. As we look at ownership, let's just talk a little bit about what ownership really means. There is value in ownership, right? And the value is being able to focus that we do have a control, right? There are elements, no matter what has happened, no matter what has occurred, no matter the situation that you were born into, married into, moved into, there are elements that you can control. So let's look at what can be controlled. Let's be accountable for some of those actions that we have taken to bring us to here. And as always, there's strategic steps. So we want to have responsibility. And as we grow, it's a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little bit uncomfortable to take ownership of the fact that maybe I've made some decisions that has led me to this way. But we don't need to involve our whole entity around those things. So what I have put here as one of the bullet points was, we don't need to blame others for our circumstances and our failures. We need to move forward. So what I would like to do throughout this whole conversation, it's all about moving forward. We're not really focused on moving away. We're looking forward. What are the steps that we need to take to move forward? And of course, as you know, there will be some benefits, and the benefits include being able to fortify yourself that, you know what, I've made it. Despite all of these things, and as we look at history, we know that history, the part of the reason why we love the heroes, because the heroes have overcome some situations that we're like, wow, we're very impressed. So we want to be impressed with ourselves. We want to be able to move forward into a position where we are aligning our truth with the world around us. So that as we move forward too, we want to be in a stable position, and we want to be able to relax into that stability that we are making it. We have taken ownership. We have moved forward with integrity. We have kept who we are, and we've moved forward with that. So we look at the time. We're looking at past experiences can affect our current mindset and our choices. So nothing just happens in a vacuum. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that have happened. And as you know, with the Black community, there's just a lot of stuff that has happened. So in the past, the federal legislation had sort of talked about us, and they've identified 3 distinct races. the indigenous people, white people, and everybody else. Who's everybody else? I mean, it's such a weird concept. But in 1975, Kay Livingstone, who was the founder of the Canadian Negro Women's Association, she termed the phrase visible minority. So 1975, she looked at it. She said, you know what? This is a time where there's so many Caucasian white Canadians, and then all of these other groupings were coming from different places, we're coming from different countries, we're coming from different islands. How can we put us all together? She termed the coin visible minorities. Now, as we've moved forward, there's everybody's like, what? And so now the term has been coined BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And the term again has moved forward, and now we're racialized individuals. Now, the reason why I brought this up is everything is evolving. And the evolution of what we've been named, how we've been termed, how we've been viewed, should not be our focus. Our focus is not about us versus them. It's not about fitting into any kind of a nomenclature that somebody has put on us. It's really about, okay, you know what? We know that there's concerns and challenges with the Black community. Let's not focus on the naming so much as focusing on our identity with who we are and how we can move forward as a community. So the past is there. It's really bringing us forward into our present. And in the present, I'm saying embrace ownership of you. So we're not throwing things out, but at the same time, we don't always need to be putting ourselves in the identification where somebody else is naming our situation. And that's why I'm saying it's not an us versus them. It's not always going to be a white versus Black, because it's debilitating to put other people at the center of our standards, right? Of our discussions. Skin color is not always going to be a useful explanation for performance, and therefore we can't have that be the determining factor as we move forward. So what we want to do is we want to say, okay, listen, forget all the naming. These are the concerns and the challenges of the various groups of individuals, and we need to be at the center so we identify ourselves with the gaps and feeding the information into the labor market, into the employment market. It's more than just the racialized situation. We're in a community where maybe, okay, we're in a community where everybody from here does not know X. And therefore that is even much more debilitating rather than just looking at the color. So we want to be able to take ownership of what's our real situation and how can we inform the overall framework and the overall organization of where we live. So that brings us into the future. And as I said, as we claim ownership of our journey, we'll be able to inform those studies. We need to be sitting at those tables. We need to be presenting our information into the survey so that the gap analysis are from our perspectives, right? It's not only about these things that have happened. And as we claim ownership of our journey, we recognize, okay, I'm in this situation, but it's not going to define who I am. So what we want to do is we want to really focus our attention on claiming ownership of us, our journey, and how we can move forward from learning what has happened before and moving forward to the insight, gaining insight from other people's experiences, how we have moved from the past to now, where we are now, and to moving into advance to next and to better. As we do that, we have some do's and don'ts. I mean, it's a situation of there's no perfect way of moving forward, but we want to always make sure that as we move forward, we're doing it from a multi-sided lens. The same way that we are a people, we are a group, a community with lots of different facets within us. It's more than just the color, and it's more than just our the situations that we're born in. We want to look at everything with a multi-sided lens. We want to take those strategic steps, not just a step, but we want to take a strategic step that we can move forward, and we could try to, we can try to minimize situations from happening again. We, also the don't forfeit the control you have over your life. It's okay if somebody says that is the way that we have to go. We don't need to give control. We can hear and we can listen. We can acknowledge that maybe that is your perspective of where I should move, but not necessarily it's not a panacea of like that's the answer. And also, don't move away from your truth. Maybe I like painting, and that is my interest. Maybe I like teaching. That is my interest. So I don't need to be chasing something that everybody says, okay, you need to be a shop clerk. No, I don't. I like teaching. I'm going to look for different ways that I can put my interest into something that's going to fulfill me. We're going to look at some strategic steps, and our strategic steps in terms of time is really like looking at the full picture. We want to embrace our past. We know we've had it, we heard it, but we want to embrace our past, accept where we are, and love ourselves enough to know that, okay, we're going to take some steps to move forward. We want to be strategic in terms of moving past the community level, past just putting a stopgap measure with ourselves to drive those studies, to make sure that the studies hear from our amplified voice. It's not enough that you've had a study here or there from 20 years ago. It's not enough that you've decided to name this decade for Black people. The Black people don't end in a decade. So therefore, the same way that as decades move and things are transitioning, the same way our needs transition, the same way our studies transition. So therefore, we need to make sure that are there. And so that's why I said about the policies. We need to make sure that our comments, our concepts, our challenges, our ideas, recommendations, suggestions are at the political level. Because when it's embedded within the framework of the society, then society changes. When it's just on an add-on basis, then people think like, oh, okay, it's okay, we'll do it. It's not that important. No, it is important. Our concerns are important. Our challenges are important. The ways that we need to go about addressing them is important. And therefore, we need to have it in the law books. Part of where the discussion will come in, this is where we've sort of looked at time at a very high level. What experiences shaped you and your current state of being? Has it been the expectations of others? Have you dealt with those expectations? Maybe your mother said that you have to be a nurse. Maybe you don't want to be a nurse, right? But the expectation is, are you the leader of that family where you're the one that has to make the payment? You're the one that's holding the roof over the head. So now your expectation is that you can't do what you really want to do because you have all of these people. And where do you want to have the most impact? The impact that you have with the power that you have with your time could be with your siblings, with your children, with your community, with the government. Your impact is where you want to think about, how is it that what my step is going to give me the fulfillment of like, that's what's going to make an impact when it's truth, when it's resonated with your strength. And what stands between you and where you want to go? Is it your mindset? Is it the expectations that people have put on you wrongly? Is it your expectations for yourself that you have decided that, no, maybe that's not for me. Maybe I'm not sure how to do that. Or is it your belief that you cannot achieve these things? That next step. We want to connect all of those pieces, things that have happened to us, things that maybe we've done. We want to connect those things. Go into your power. What is your power? Your power is your truth, and we want to align your truth with your purpose and your passions. As I said before, everybody has that element within themselves that they know what gives them joy. They know that they were put on this earth to do this, and your this is different from somebody else's this, and it's different from the expectations that people have placed on you and have seen you as. You know your truth, and that's what we're going to discuss. How can we get there? Your power is about living in a mindful state. It's not by accident. We don't want to operate from a place of just convenience. We don't want to operate from a place of just doing. We want to be intentional. We want to put an intentional focus on our lives, because this is how we're going to have a commanding positive control. We're going to be able to control our thoughts, which is going to also bring us back to promoting a mindful of awareness. That doesn't make sense that I did this. This action is not going to support me being the best me that I am, right? And of course, with all of that, like, I'm here, I'm living and standing in my truth, it's going to decrease our stress level, because this is what disease is. Your body is not at ease. So as we move forward to a mindful state, we're moving to a state of ease. We're moving to a state of, I was born to do this. I am here for this purpose. And therefore, what we want to do is we want to take strategic steps. We want to be mindful of, like, I'm standing here now, and it's because of all of these things that have happened. Maybe I was involved, maybe I wasn't involved, but I'm here. And this moment is what is the moment. And from this moment, as I look forward into the future, I'm looking forward from that vantage point of, like, I'm here. Stand in your mindfulness that this is the moment, that from this moment is what your next steps should be. So as we do that, we want to understand what our triggers are. Every time that person looks at me, I'm like, I'm going to lose it. Why? What are they doing? Right? So we need to figure out those triggers so that we don't respond automatically that way. And as I've said, I come from a position of strength. I encourage people to always go from a position of strength. We're not looking at, like, oh, if they look at me or I'm looking at them. No, we're looking at, I'm moving this way. These are the things that I want to involve myself in. I'm moving towards the things I want to involve myself in. If we look towards where we want to go, those things that are negative, those things that are dragging us back, they will fall further and further back. As we take our steps to the forward, those things do drop back. So we're not looking at the back, we're not looking at our past, we're not focusing on I could have, I should have, I would have. We're looking at I'm going to, I can, I will. So that's how we're going to break through to forward to next and to better. From a position of strength, we want to have declarations of moving forward. And so I've written a couple on the screen. I learn, I grow, I evolve from my missteps and from my successes. There's good things that have happened that have brought me to this moment. There's some other stuff, but there's good things too. So let's move forward. I take responsibility. Okay, wasn't the best decision. Okay, I fought back. Okay, I'm going to take responsibility. And as I said in the last slide, that was a trigger. I'm not doing that again. I'm going to focus on moving forward. I'm going to focus on, I hear you, but I'm moving, right? So action, I act now instead of waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect part. Is there perfect? No, there's no perfection. So I'm acting now. Now is the time that I'm moving, and that's how I'm going to be moving. How am I moving? I'm going to align myself with my truth and my purpose and my passions. I like it. I like learning. I like teaching. Let me move towards teaching. Okay, don't have a degree. I don't have the money for a degree. How can I move forward? Do I need to focus on that I don't have the money? No, I think I can focus on, okay, let me see if I can volunteer at the school. Let me see if I can work with a community organization. Let me see if I can work with the student. There are ways to get forward with your purpose and your passions that's going to work, that's going to fit all of the elements, right? So these are some of the things, as I said, we're going to adopt beliefs to next and to better, and we're declaring forward. We're declaring movement. So that's where we are at. And this was a discussion. How can we work together to make sure that our most applicable concerns, challenges, and objectives are brought forward? They're brought forward with ourselves, they're brought forward with our community, and they're brought forward in the larger organization of Canada, right? We need to make these things known. We need to say, no, it's not appropriate. This isn't lining up. How we need to move forward as a community, how we need to move forward as a individual, this is what we need. Not focusing on what we don't have, what we have, no, let's move forward. So how can we work together? I hear you, I see the impediments, I see that this might be an issue. How can we move forward? How can we move past this? What are the things we need to bring in to make this work? It can work. So maybe all of it can't work, but there's a good portion that's going to work. And when we work from that portion, maybe the other portion will come along, right? So who do we need to partner with or support to ensure that real tangible change happens? Do I need to have that conversation with that family member? Your expectations on me, they're not valid. They're not working for me. It's not working. We can't go along this way, not lining up with who I am, right? So who do we need to partner with? Who do we need to talk to? Government, hello. You know, you guys are putting these stop Band-Aid measures, not working for me, not doing anything for me. Is what you are presenting going to bring real change? If not, why are you presenting it? Why do I need to feed into it? That's your choice if you'd like to do it this way. And which concerns do we need to address? Maybe we need to create some new policies. Okay, let me look at those other policies. That policy didn't even include the conversation around Black people. Didn't even include the conversation about immigrants, refugees, from the immigrant refugee point of view, right? It's not enough to just give me like a Band-Aid monthly account. Give me a job. Those accreditations that we've had with moving forward with the education system sounds good. Not enough. We don't have enough people hired. So what's missing in that? Is there something missing? Because you guys have been doing it for a while. I know the policy exists, but maybe there needs to be some fine-tuning of that policy. Maybe we need to revisit on what we are saying is applicable or not applicable to the Canadian government law. Who said that that's the only way, right? We need to have those conversations, and we need to be at the table to have those conversations and to bring it up from our point of view, not from that point of view. Look at our well-being, our sense of who we are. We want to tie it all in. We want to be in a position of strength, that we are strong to move forward from a healthy place. So as we look at that, we want to look at health. We want to take ownership. And part of the ownership is we need to come up with our own care plan. Every individual should say, you know what? These are the things that I need to move forward. I know I have a family history of diabetes, so I cannot just focus on ice cream. So therefore, I need to have a plan. I need to have a plan to have alternatives for that sweet craving I might have. And as we move forward, it's more than just me having the plan. I need to make sure that the health management has it. Hello, government. You guys have made changes, right? Ford has made changes in the Ontario government to include elective, whatever they call elective surgeries, and now it can be done at outside care. How about bringing in those non-traditional healthcare options, right? A lot of those pharmaceutical products that we have are built from our historical grandparents. It's built from the traditional medicines. It's built from the traditional ways of healing. So why can't we have that as an option within our healthcare management? Like, can we have something where the doctors are acknowledging that these pharmaceutical products, they're giving us various negative, if you take this could happen, I can't think of the word right now, but side effects. Why can't we move towards non-traditional where there's less side effects that might be at risk for us? So therefore we want to, of course, as I said, influence the government to take a look at these non-traditional healthcare options and include it within this overall revamp, right? We need to be at those tables to be bringing those things in and our healing, right? There is that element where we need to take ownership of our part of this journey. Yes, we are part, things happen, illness happens, but let's not just keep eating ice cream. Okay, I've been identified with diabetes. I know that sweetness is a situation. Let me do my part, right? Let me not eat so many oranges. Let me not eat so many mangoes, right? That sugar content is not going to be doing me well. So we want to make sure that within our well-being, we're looking at the health, and the health is an encompassing of our individualized care plan. What are those steps that I need to take to make sure that I can be healthy, I can live well? And I need to sort of talk to that government, talk to my doctor to say, okay, doc, this is how I need to move forward. Here's my plan, is the way I see it. You're going to bring your expertise to it and let's put it together. But we're putting it together from a position of strength. You're not just telling me do this or don't do this or do. No, I've got my own stuff too. And you know what? I've also heard this used to work. So can we include it? Do you know anything about this? Can you give me more information about this? Or right? And so you're taking steps to also encourage yourself with your healing process. In terms of that, that's a strategic steps. You're in partnership with your health care provider and you want to also stay there. So you want to identify what are your specific concerns and challenges. What are your risk factors? Is there family diagnoses that have happened and you know that, okay, part of that goal is prevention because I know that this is used to happen. And you know what? Maybe there's a point in the area. Maybe I'm losing my hearing because I live too close to the Queensway. So now everybody that's in my neighborhood, this is what their problem is, right? You want to be able to take it and you want to take ownership of your healthy lifestyle. So this is where it's always part and parcel. There's my element, but then government, hello, we need to tell the government, you guys are revamping things right now. I need to be at that table. I need to inform you that, you know what? Did you guys consider this? And what about this part for the community? And these challenges, maybe it's not in your studies, but maybe you're not talking to the right people. Maybe you're only basing your information based on the past. Maybe you were never really conversing with this group of people that you're now trying to feed medicine to. So we want to, you didn't hear from me. You want to be there so that you can hear from me. Hello, government. Yes, you're telling me. I understand. But this doesn't always jive with your speaking notes. I'm going to tell you that when I go into the hospital, this is what's happening. Is there a place for me to express it? Not so it's an individual comment, but it's a community comment. So these are some of the things that are the strategic steps that we need to take to move forward. So as I've stated, there's other elements involved as well with our health and our well-being. Maybe we're using their coping strategies at all times. Maybe we're not using them in the right way all the time. So maybe this is something that we also want to figure out, right? We have the actions that are because of trauma. We've gone this way, but have we taken it a little bit too far? And if we have, Maybe we need to partner with somebody. We need to talk to a therapist. We need to have a good discussion with our doctor. We need to have a good discussion with our healthcare provider and come up with another coping skill. So we're not only focused on, okay, we got to stop this, but can we put this in place and actively move forward? We need to make sure, okay, like these things happen. It's not my fault, but I can be part of the process for helping my healing. So, as you know, the questions, it's important. How are you? You need to ask yourself that. How am I? How am I? In this day and age with all of these things happening, how am I? How are you? How are you? More so than just like, what can you do for me? What can I do for myself? How are you? Right? A sense of well-being is really taking a step and looking at your situation. What life experiences shaped who you are? What stands between you and where you want to go? Is it the expectations people have placed on you? Is it the expectations you've placed for yourself? Is it that way of being that you're like, I've always responded like this, I'm going to always respond like this? Or you don't have the tools, you don't have the methods? Can you learn them? And where do you have the most impact? Do you have the people that you need to partner with to make those changes? Can you share the information that you've learned and that you have with others so that it can grow and be in a better position for the community at large? And what makes it worthwhile for you? Is it ego-driven? I'm going to be the next prime minister because then everybody could see me? Or is it, I'm going to be the next prime minister because I could bring about real change? So these are some of the discussion questions that, you know, we can look and reflect as a community, as individuals, as organizations. How can we do better? How are you? I am going to have a workshop I'm working on for the spring where we're going to talk about some of these concepts and have more in depth, because I'm hoping to have plenary sessions and then the workshops, so we can look at that and as a community come up with some solutions so that we can come up with some concrete actionable concerns and challenges that we could present. Don't know how, don't know where, but we will present them so that it could be included in those discussions where real change is supposed to be happening within the organization, within Canada, within corporations. Next couple of slides is just talking a little bit about my organization and what it means to partner with me. We're going to discuss the value of what is it that you're going to get when you have stepped into who you are supposed to be. What are those influence factors that you know about and that you don't know about? We'll discover that in those discussions. We'll determine your wins. We all have different wins, right? It's not always as obviously seen from other people. Your wins are your wins, just as your truth is your truth. Just the return on investment. You're always going to win when your investment is in you. Declarations, always positive. You're going to build a life of well-being. You're going to protect your mental health. You're going to move forward to overcome those self-sabotaging and negative thoughts. You're going to live now and you're going to live with joy. Bundles that I have, the courses based on our conversation today. Thank you for coming, listening, hearing me out. And I look forward to connecting with any of you at any point in time, and we can further those discussions. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tammy. These amazing words. Truth, purpose, power, passion, time management, planning. Next to better. I think this was an amazing beginning. I want to thank you very much for taking time and coming on and speaking to everybody who's on tonight.
It's a lot of information to digest, and that's why I've said, when you're taking your conversations, even within yourself, break them into strategic steps, because we're just overwhelmed a lot with information, with our feelings, with the expectations, and therefore it's nice to have manageable steps.
So let me ask you this first question.
Sure.
From your experience and work, what do you think healing could look like in the ACB community, or in somebody who's a newcomer or immigrant? What do you think that looks like?
So I think that healing looks like a person feeling settled, a person feeling at ease with themselves, the ability to say, yes, that works for me, and no, that doesn't work for me. So healing in the community is a position of strength, that you are feeling comfortable, that you're not at loss. Because many times, especially with the story is dictated to us from the us versus them construct, it's that you're at a loss for something. What am I at a loss for? I am where I am supposed to be. This is my place in this world. And so the healing comes from knowing that this is okay. Wherever I am, this is okay. This moment is okay.
Great. And that makes, like, for sure, in terms of the healing, and being as a Black woman, we're brought up to, hush hush, don't tell, go pray, keep everything inside. And so it's very hard now that as we grow older and things now have changed with mental health, that we have support. We're really trying to get support. And for those of you who are listening, it's very important, if you need somebody to talk to, and not keep things inside, and really get that support from the community. Sometimes you cannot tell your mom, your dad, or somebody close to you. Maybe you could just tell a stranger. But it's very important that, not keeping our hurtful feelings inside, because it doesn't work.
And not living with the expectations of others. Who said that you can't talk? Who said that your viewpoint should not be expressed? So as Black women and Black men, the stress is insurmountable in terms of the expectations that are placed on you and that you place on yourself. So exactly like Tony said, reach out for support, reach out for help, reach out just to express yourself, because all of that is part of the healing.
Okay. So what are some tools that can help equip our community? I won't even say just ACB, but just immigrant community as they work towards taking better care of themselves.
I think it's just having that realistic perspective that you are not where you're going to end up. So wherever you are is okay. You're at a point where, if you're getting credit for your education, that's okay. We get it. You used to be a doctor. You used to be a professional. You're not there now. It's not enough to just keep focusing on I used to be. Where you are is good.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to celebrate our immigrants and our refugees that they're here. We just need to celebrate that you're going to add to the flavor of our community. You're going to add to the flavor of our organization, and it's a good thing. Wherever you are, whatever experiences that you can bring to us, not necessarily focusing on that professional label, but you have value. So what I would say to the immigrant refugee community, it's all good. Your value is needed. We need you. We respect you. And we need people around to celebrate you, and you need to celebrate yourself.
Great. So what are some powerful words you would like to leave with the community today?
You're good. You're great. The powerful words are, you're here for a purpose, and your truth will resonate and impact everybody. So your impact, if you're impacting your family member, it's all additional. So that impacts somebody else who impacts somebody else. It's all, I can't even think of the word, but it all works together. So you're good. Your truth is needed in this world, and we need to celebrate you, and you need to celebrate and to share with us who you really are.
Amazing, amazing. So tell us, how can we get in touch with you and the work you do?
So I have Tammy Services Corporation, so it's tammyservices.com. All my contact information is there, or hillsandvalleys.ca, and you can find my contact information on the websites.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just have a comment, Tammy. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really wonderful and very empowering, really.
Thank you.
I think what resonated for me regarding your presentation was giving us permission,
That's
right? Like, especially in the ACB community, when we talk about mental health, that's so taboo, and we're getting into a place where it's becoming more normalized to talk about those things, but it's a different feeling when you have other Black women, Black men coming together and providing permission to be able to feel those feelings, acknowledge them, be who you are, right? Because sometimes we're not coming from a place and space that's okay, right? So what resonated for me is permission to be who you are, permission to be okay where you're at. It may not be exactly where you want to be, but it doesn't negate from who you are, right? So I really appreciate that for me today, so thank you.
Thank you. And it's a step, right? You're always taking steps. Just because where you are might not be where you want to be, it's okay, because you're moving forward. So, and you have to give yourself permission. The point that I would love to stress with what you appreciated is the fact that you give yourself permission. I don't need to wait for somebody else, right? I am good, and this is what I need, so this is how I need to move forward. It's okay if I need to reach out for help. It's not what is the problem?
True. And what also I think is very important is support. Knowing that, you know what, I can call my sister, I can call my brother, I can call and have that support and have the conversation, is that maybe, you know what, I don't feel well today, right?
Yeah. And this is why
my sister's keeper, and really have that support.
And this is why I've said, in terms of that situation with the well-being, create yourself an individualized care plan. Within that plan, you can identify who do you think is going to support you in these elements that you've identified for yourself. It's your individualized care plan. So take care of yourself and make it holistic. Put down who can support you in those areas that you need support in.
Excellent advice.
It takes time to resonate with the concepts as well.
It does.
Real change comes about when we can digest information and see how we can personalize it to ourselves. So I do appreciate that opportunity just to express that.
Mm-hmm. So once again, Tammy, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Really empowering us that we can actually live in our truth.
Yeah.
And take ownership of, we don't have to be perfect.
No.
And we can make mistakes.
Of course.
If we fall, we can definitely get up and try again. And that's the beauty of, not being perfect. But I stand in my truth. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And if you can just let us know once again, how can the community get a hold of you?
So I'm going to say tammyservices.com. I feel like that's easy. tammyservices.com. You can go on there, connect with me. My contact information is there. If you're interested in giving back, I'm a registered charity, so I do give receipts. Hills and Valleys Nonprofit. You go through the hills and the valleys of life. So Hills and Valleys Nonprofit Organization. I think you can Google me and you should be able to find me. We're not perfect, so we're working for where we are, but tammyservices.com. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm Tammy, And I would look forward to connecting with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Oh.
Tammy, for this beautiful presentation. You know, some of the key messages that really resonated with me, the huge ones are, you know, giving myself permission to move forward
Yes.
and not be blocked by, you know, past experiences and challenges, reframing what those problems and challenges that I faced in the past help propel me to move forward, you know, finding groundedness and connecting back to my truth so that I can continue moving forward on this path. And then, you know, that huge piece around finding community, finding a sense of connection. I think that's huge, and I wanted to, I put in the chat some of the resources that we have available in Ottawa. If you're looking for, you know, a network of peers to continue on this path and get the support that you're looking for, I've shared some resources in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm really, really motivated.
Good.
Really, just I've enjoyed this so much. So
Perfect.
thank you for sharing this with us tonight.
Sure. So please, organizers, Tony and Nagat, share my presentation, and you would have, like, you'll be able to look through the slides and hopefully recall some of the concepts that I also expanded upon that are written there. But I think the slides are clear enough that they'll hold enough information that you yourself can have your own presentation.
And on that note, like I wanted to say, you know, I think it's very important that, you know what, we forgive ourselves.
For sure. But there is nothing to forgive. So, like, as I've stated, we are where we are, right?
Yeah.
We are where we are. This moment is actually a very good moment, because all of these moments that have happened that brought me here is my springboard moment to my next. So,
Yeah.
there is really, it's just about understanding that where we are is where we need to be. Because as we move forward, and as I said, as we're going to be impacting others, you're impacting others from your truth. You're impacting others from the situations that have brought you here. Somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to learn that it's okay and you can help somebody else.
Perfect. Thank you so much.